In observational studies, a researcher systematically observes and records behavior. He or she makes no attempt to change or interfere with the behavior. There are two main types of observational research: naturalistic observation or laboratory observation. The main difference is in the setting where researchers make their observations. Laboratory observations are conducted in carefully controlled lab settings, whereas naturalistic observations are carried out in the real world, in whatever environment is natural for the behaviors the researcher is planning on investigating. The primary purpose of naturalistic observation is to find out how people or other animals act in their real-life world, at home, in classrooms, in factories, at the office, at shopping malls, at the playground, on the subway, and so on. The main advantage of naturalistic observation over laboratory observation is that the behavior observed is more likely to be the real thing, more natural, more spontaneous, and more varied than that observed in a laboratory. Naturalistic observations are common among ethologists, researchers who study the behavior of animals in their natural habitats. For example, Jane Goodall has spent over 35 years observing chimpanzees in the African jungles. Using naturalistic observation, she reported chimps stripping leaves from twigs and using the twigs as tools to get insects for food. This finding disproved earlier thinking that only humans are capable of tool making. Naturalistic observations are common in anthropology, where field workers seek to describe a culture by living in it for long periods of time. Psychologists sometimes use this technique, called participant observation, as well. For example, in 1973, David Rosenhan designed a study to examine the ability of mental health professionals to accurately establish psychiatric diagnoses. Rosenhan and 7 colleagues used participant observation to learn from the inside how the mental illness label affects perceptions. The researchers presented themselves for admission to 12 hospitals, complaining that they were hearing voices. Other than this symptom, all subjects acted normal and gave truthful responses. All subjects were admitted with a diagnosis of schizophrenia. Once admitted, the researchers displayed no symptoms. All recorded their experiences. They remained hospitalized for an average of 19 days, with one patient staying for 52 days. Not one of them was discovered for who they really were, although ironically, some of the real patients detected their normalcy. When discharged, it was recorded in their files that their schizophrenia was in remission. Most naturalistic observation in psychology is carefully designed not to affect the behaviors the researchers want to observe and record. Psychologists who make naturalistic observations try to blend in with the surroundings so that they are not noticed by the persons being observed. In one recent study, the researchers did not even personally come near the people they wanted to study, school children. Instead, they relied on hidden cameras and microphones.